Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons starting to straight up defeat video games, and not small ones, large, major video games, live service games. All right, so let's talk about this. So first of all, um, there's a lot of confusion about Dungeons and Dragons and how it makes its money and what money it deserves and what it doesn't. So, what's really interesting is a lot of when Dungeons and Dragons is compared to other tabletop role playing games, it is a juggernaut. It is the 800-pound silverback gorilla, no two ways about it, right? And over there's a chimpanzee, right? It is the king, right? Um, but and then basically you get a lot of people who roll at Dungeons and Dragons like it's the 1%. Oh, you big corporate people, it's all about the money, right? And I find it pretty absurd because Hasbro is a ridiculously small company, right? Like their entire revenue, like it's not a lot, right? It's like 5 billion a year. That's not a ton of money. It's just, it's small. It is a global corporation. But when you talk, like last year, there was a company, there was an international conglomerate that was rumored. I did a whole bunch of coverage of it right here on this channel. Rumored to be considering buying Dungeons and Dragons, lock, stock, and barrel, that is worth a $500 billion, like $500 billion, right? Like that's a company at scale. So the idea that people are like, oh, you big old corporation, like I'm like, this is a scrappy company that is fighting to live, right? This is not some huge corporation, right? So now when you're competing with people who are printing books and like putting them together in their garage, yeah, like it seems like a big deal, but they are really competing hard, right? And they create a ton of content, an amazing amount of content for Dungeons and Dragons with an outrageously small team. Legit. The number of professionals working on Dungeons and Dragons right now is probably 50 to 100 people. And the amount of material they've been able to create and the amount of momentum they've been create with that is so outrageously small, right? And so productive that it's impressive, right? Now, what's interesting is Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game, but it has entered into the video game space, and it had a massive success with Baldur's Gate 3, right? But that's not its only win, right? Recently, something very unusual happened. So first of all, Dungeons and Dragons has incredible momentum, and it is starting to be discussed openly by billionaires. One of those billionaires is Jeff Bezos. Oh, hey, Matthew Mercer, thanks for coming in today. So great to see you. Let's talk about. So we already got your Vox Machina, right? We're working on the Mighty Nine. I heard Bell's Hells was trash. Do you have any other ideas? We're going to skip Bell's Hells, right? Like, so like there are like and so that I already talked about that, right? But there's another place where Dungeons and Dragons is being talked about at Amazon, and that was on Secret Level, right? So I watched all of Secret Level. I watched all the videos connected there. And so Dungeons and Dragons has a very nice 15-minute Amazon Prime Secret Level episode, and you should watch it if you get a chance. It's great. There's nothing but good about it. It's delightful. It's super short. Amazing animation, pretty cool story, very good, right? And completely untouched by any OSR or indie, right? No OSR or indie has anything like it, right? Like they're just not considered like that, right? I think Pathfinder might be getting a video game. Almost no other tabletop role-playing games have any video games to speak of, right? So with that said, right, what's really interesting is I was going through and I tried this one called Concord, right? And it talked about like the periphery storm, right? It was some episode like that. So I watched it. It was good. It was actually a very good, again, these things are like 10, 15 minutes, it's, they don't even have time to offend you, right? Like, it just, you're in and you're out. I love quick storytelling, right? So I really liked it. I thought it was good and it was interesting, right? When I was done, I was like, Concord? I don't know. Like, and like one of the other secret levels was Warhammer 40K, right? When that one was phenomenal, right? And I'm like, oh, I know what Warhammer 40K is. And then a couple other ones, I was like, I might have heard of this, but Concord, what the heck is this, right? Well, get this. This Concord episode, this game was launched they started developing this 8 years ago. They spent $200 million building it. It was delivered and they refunded everybody's purchases within a week. Within a week. Complete catastrophic failure, right? So I think, and the reason why we're talking about this day is there's just outrageous channels who just spit ridiculous nonsense nonstop, right? One of them is Roll for Comment. Oh, I assure you, everybody, D&D's in a lot of trouble. They're just doing so bad, doing terrible. Let's forget that Wizards of the Coast did $1.5 billion in revenue last year. Let's forget that it's a Lego theme now. Let's forget their shows, movies, and that Stranger Things, just on and on and on, right? But the thing is, not only is Dungeons & Dragons doing extremely well as a tabletop role-playing game, it's actually doing incredibly well as a video game, and Baldur's Gate 3 is not its only success, right? Within every single secret level on Amazon Prime is based on a video game. And Dungeons & Dragons outlasted a $200 million live service major AAA game. Devastated it, right? Like, Dungeons & Dragons video games are continuing to be made, right? They're thought of extremely well. Concord is gone within a week. 8 years to develop, $200 million down the drain. Dungeons & Dragons, in the same grouping, kicked its butt in the video game space. Right? Concord's got to hang its head low. D&D's like, here's our episode. Go play our games. Concord's like, here's our episode. Our game doesn't exist. D&D served it. You are served, sir. Right? Kicked its butt. Right? Dungeons & Dragons does not just destroy other tabletop role-playing game, OSR, and indie competitors. It destroys even in the video game space and is defeating AAA studios, dumping $200 million with 8 years of development and kicking their butts. Dungeons & Dragons up, Roll for Combat down. Everything they're spitting utter nonsense. Utter nonsense. Take every single thing they say with a grain of salt. It's just a hater channel, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.